I caught my boyfriend talking harshly to my cat, so I told him to leave.
Get out of here. Get.
For context, my 24 female boyfriend, 30 male, and I recently moved in together. It's something we've been talking about, and when his lease ended, he moved into my apartment. By the way, this comes from user Cat Woes Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I have a cat, Millie, who is my baby girl that I've had since she was a kitten. Back when my boyfriend and I first started dating, he made the joke that if we were ever going to live together, he'd have to get rid of that cat, which I dismissed at the time. When he would come over, he would ignore Millie, making jokes about how cats are stuck up, how much he's a dog person. Again, I dismissed this because he never acted hostile towards her. I figured it was just a preference. When we started to get serious about moving in, he asked if I would consider giving her away because he didn't like the idea of living with a cat. I almost laughed. Before realizing he was serious. I told him that under no circumstances would I get rid of my cat. I felt guilty about being unwilling to compromise, but he actually took it well and reassured me that if she was this important to me, he'd get over it. Fast forward to last night, I don't think he realized I was in the kitchen when he came home. Millie was on the couch and I heard him go into the room and give this sigh. Before I could call out, I heard him say, "You're so effing worthless." It terrified me because I've never ever heard him speak with such malice. He sounded like a different person. It was just so cold and hostile that I panicked and rushed out there to see him looking at Millie. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I completely freaked out. I was yelling, asking what he thought he was doing, talking to her like that. He jumped, and I scooped Millie up and told him to leave my apartment right now. He looked so stunned and started to argue, asking where he was supposed to go. I told him, I don't care, he just needs to leave. He was pissed and said he was going for a drive and slammed the door behind him. I immediately started sobbing and holding Millie. I was shaking, and she could tell I was upset and kept cuddling me. She calmed me down, and later when he texted asking if he could come back, I said yes. I put Millie in the bedroom so we could talk. We were both a lot calmer, and I felt awful after he explained his side. I'll often call Millie little names, and he said he was just trying to be playfully mean too and misjudged his tone. Which, girl, that's a lie.
That's so, wow, that's such a bad, he's like, no, like when you say like, oh, come here, little kitty, I was saying, oh, stay away from me, you little worthless little piece of crap, lovingly. That's the most insane lie I've ever heard.
I think both people, he came back and you talked, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like blowing up and kicking him out of the apartment,
yeah, pretty intense.
not the right. I'm a cat person. That was
Pretty
way overblown. And he might now be lying because he's like, do I have to come up with a lie for this? Because if I tell her I just don't like her cat, is she gonna like obliterate me? Like, what's going on?
Testing out little pet names.
And it's like, look, I know people who are dog people who are like, I love dogs. They're useful. You can train them. They do this. Cats, it's like you have to be subservient to the cat. I hate it. And it's true. You do. The cat doesn't do anything for you. But he said it felt awful that I chose a cat over him and that I called it my apartment when it's supposed to be our place. Is your name on the lease, buddy? He told me he was constantly feeling second best to Millie, who I wouldn't even consider rehoming, and I had thrown him out over an animal when he's a person. This is one of the dumbest things I've ever read. I explained to him how much he means to me and apologized for ever making him feel like this wasn't his home. I think I might have overreacted, but I just don't know. He's my boyfriend, and she's something I keep refusing to compromise on. No, she's an animal that you love. She's your pet that you love.
I don't even understand what there is no compromise. There is no compromise here because you want the cat here and it's your place. He wants the cat gone. There's no middle ground.
Truly.
What, is it going to go away on weekends?
Yes.
No, there's no middle ground. He wants the cat gone. He doesn't want you to compromise. He wants you to do what he wants.
He's my boyfriend, and she's something I keep refusing to compromise on. But I also don't believe that he just misjudged his tone. So am I the a-hole?
No.
You're not an a-hole.
You're not at all an a-hole. And I've already told you all of my comments, so I have no more. He's a liar.
But I would be also stunned if someone reacted like, I'm surprised he came back. I'd be like, you know what? Actually, this is way too much for me.
Nope.
It'd be different if you walked in and he's, I don't know. He just was like, you useless freaking thing.
Yeah, that's not.
And you're like, how dare you get out of it? It's like
your reaction was way too intense, but also he's lying to you and he hates your cat and he probably is going to try and get rid of your cat.
Right, that's the thing I'd be worried about. It's like it's probably not going to stop until he gets what he wants.
Yeah.
Comment number 1. Info. You are aware that cats can't understand English, right? They understand tone, though, and it freaked me out, says OP. Comment 2, considering how deeply you buried the lead about you talking to her like that. 2, I don't buy your claim about tone.
OP wasn't talking. What?
You've not shown yourself to be a reliable narrator. What is that comment even on? OP says, I don't speak to her like that. Commenter 3 says, not the a-hole. You had every right to be upset and ask him to leave. Do you have any indication that he will be nicer going forward? OP says, after our talk, he said he wouldn't ever speak to her like that again, and that he'd start calling her Millie instead of just the cat. Comment 4, info, does he have a reason to hate the cat? Is Millie interrupting his sleep? Is she hostile towards him without reason? Is she peeing somewhere else than her litter box? People should be able to coexist with harmless cats even if they are not a cat person. OP says, there's nothing going on like that. She's very social and stays near me, so sometimes she gets underfoot. Comment 5 says, not the a-hole. Listen to your instincts. Your gut reaction was to protect Millie and make him leave. The cold voice, that wasn't him playing, that was him dropping the mask he usually wears around you. If you stay together, he's going to hurt Millie and remove her from your life. You are at the first scene of what will either turn into a horror movie or just a small but normal breakup drama. This is very extra. I don't necessarily know if this guy has the capability to hurt your animals.
I just think he might get rid of the cat.
I think
is not okay.
You should just have a very frank discussion.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
what's going on here?
Can you live with this cat or no? That's it.
Tell me why this is a absolutely not thing for you. Please choose the safety of yourself and your pet.
I mean, I think that you cannot live without the cat. You know that because you reacted insanely. You know that you can't live without this cat. You love this cat, and if he wants to live without the cat, then that's it.
He can live anywhere else on the whole planet. Yep. So there's an update. Everybody's comments were extremely eye-opening. I felt sick to my stomach reading about people afraid for Millie, and it had already crossed my mind, honestly. Making that post validated all the fears that I had kept dismissing as dramatic, and it was almost a relief to be encouraged by strangers to do something I had previously been too afraid to do. We broke up. It's my apartment. He wasn't on the lease yet, and he's going to go stay with his brother. I had to read around about gaslighting, and my sisters would agree with all of you about that one. Yeah, you were being gaslit. It was hard to lose somebody I trusted and thought I knew well, but based on his reaction, I knew I made the right call. He essentially told me that if I couldn't learn to put other humans before my cat, I'd be alone for a very long time, and that he'd be waiting for me to reach out. And by the way, you can always reach out to your favorite podcast platform and search OK Storytime. And what are you going to find there?
So many things.
The episodes, all of them, 2,500 and counting.
Lots of episodes.
You can listen to them all.
Yep.
Enjoy that. That's a treat. We have a little bit more story left. We all know where we're sitting with this.
You'll know.
We
Good
like
job.
where it's at. Let's finish it off. Millie doesn't deserve to just be tolerated. She deserves to be safe and treated like the little princess she is by anybody I live with. She's seen me through so much, and I'd rather be alone than her wandering around the side of the road somewhere. And I am absolutely terrified of her ever being hurt. It isn't worth the risk. I'm okay with it being just her and I for now. Thanks everybody for the advice. Also, here's the baby.
My girlfriend can't stop overspending. Now I'm rethinking marriage.
Yeah, because you're getting married to a big hole in your pocket.
How do you deal with a partner that seems absolutely allergic to money? OP says. She tries to take her son out every day, buy him things that he likes, and treat him. I have no problem with the occasional treat, but 20 to 30 toys in a day, plus the expenses of doing activities, play area, etc., has eaten us into a financial nightmare. By the way, this comes from Responsible Coil, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. So I got paid 2 days ago, $1,500, bills and etc. Took a chunk, but there's still enough to survive and do fun stuff. Roughly 600 to 700 once everything's gone out. I checked today. There's about 200 to survive the entire month. Every time I bring it up, I'm either being stingy, I'm trying to pay off debts accrued from not paying bills while unemployed, some of which are hers, and save for a wedding, or I'm being horrible because she wants to get him what he wants. Now, I'm admittedly a bit softer on this because it's not like she's spending everything on shoes for herself, but given this habit keeps landing us in financial hot water, I can't keep asking relatives for help. And she spent $200 on groceries yesterday, a chunk of which she did for a stranger. A nice act, but not one she ran by me before doing it or checked the account, which has dropped us in it. Not to mention it again, came with $20 in toys, $30 in chocolate, with barely any actual food beyond some expensive steaks that she's fond of, and then food for the kids. So now she sees what little we have left, and she's panicking, demanding I come up with a solution, which is likely going to mean eating into the wedding fund, something I'm going to have to console her about. And honestly, part of me wants to flatly explain that she has caused this because she not only has very little money sense, but she's incapable of saying no. I'm not annoyed I have to work to provide for everyone. I'm annoyed that a mess has been created that I now have to sort out because she has no financial sense. If I start setting limits, I'm being controlling. If I don't, I allow her to drive us into a financial disaster. I walk away, I'm punishing her, her sons, and my daughter. I have no idea what to do anymore. I can't pick up more shifts because that's not the kind of job I have. I've already sold most of what I personally own, and I can't keep taking the hit because of her poor impulse control. Quick edit, the daughter is 6 months old, so it's not really possible for her to say she wants new toys and fancy stuff.
Right.
That's
This is
crazy.
a toddler.
That's crazy.
It's not even a
No,
toddler.
an
frickin-
infant.
It's a freaking bean. 20 a day on toys means $20, not 20 toys a day. Sorry if I wasn't clear. Okay, that helps. And yes, they get broken/lost within a couple of weeks. So I often see the cash thrown in the bin. We have an update. I had the conversation. I think she realized she messed up when I told her we have no choice but to use some of the wedding funds. While she's not happy about it, she's fully aware that she has caused the problem and agrees that out of the two of us, I am far more financially responsible or stingy, depending on the day, and telling her that she cannot have her cake and eat it, no matter how nice it would be, has really opened her eyes that I am being serious. And if we have to cancel the wedding, it would be on her for not curbing this spending. As a consequence of this, I am taking control of the finances. All bills are funneling through me, and I've set up 3 accounts: bills, home, and fund, as well as my savings account that I am using to track wedding saving and spending. Doing a full breakdown with her, showing her how much we have to play with once bills/debts are covered, going through how much she spends a day out, and what a weekly grocery bill should come to. Then I'm breaking down the remainder, what needs to go away for the wedding to come to fruition, and what we can afford to have left over for fun days out, toys, and the like. We both took our son out today as he needed new shoes since he wore his old ones out, as well as our daughter, who I need to say is 6 months old. This is not favoritism, and part of why I want to stop this overspending is to prevent her from being spoiled. Once we got them, he wanted a toy. I said no. He didn't like that. But my partner backed me up and stayed firm, which I actually appreciate a lot because she often folds. And we have a second update. We spoke. She understood that if she wants a wedding, then money needs to be controlled. And even without a wedding to plan for, we need to not spend like crazy in order to not end every month on the verge of having nothing. We made spreadsheets, broke down finances, showed that we owe debt and monthly payments versus our current wage. After a couple days pass, she tells me she wants to scrap 90% of the plans for the wedding, telling me she thinks it's just best to tie the knot in a registry office and leave the reception. Her reasoning for this is that her son getting fed up about not having much to do over the summer holidays because he wants to go on trips to the beach with all of the trimmings. We're talking bowling, play areas, new toys all the time, etc., etc. And it's hard to do that, save for a wedding, and pay the debts. Honestly, given I said this to her when she mentioned we should do this, I can't help but laugh. She's worried he feels jealous of his brother, who's currently at his father's house, different dads, by the way, and doing fun stuff with him like fishing, which I can sympathize with. Then it started to tirade into how hard she has it, how she feels like she wasted her time planning the wedding when it's not going to happen, basically acting like I canceled it. Blamed her taking him out every day on me because I work from home, and that she is keeping him out of my hair, and how exhausted she is, and how she feels like I don't appreciate what she does. I do. I tell her every time I appreciate it, but she doesn't need to do it. I know it's exhausting. I've told her don't take him out all the time. I offered to go work at the office if she felt bad that he was being loud while I was at work, but no matter what, I am in the wrong. According to her, I can't just say I appreciate her. I have to show that appreciation with affection and spending time with her. While I appreciate this, Reddit, we normally start getting out of bed around 8, take the dog out that she wanted to go to the toilet. I start work at 9, so I work 8 hours a day at my admin job to pay for all the extravagance she wants without appreciation in the slightest. Once I finish at 5, I immediately wash up and start cooking dinner because she hates cooking, and I'm the one who stays in her son's room until he falls asleep so he both feels safe and doesn't start playing instead of going to bed. She claims her back hurts sitting on the floor too long. Before I had this job, I was also the one walking her sons to school and back every day, something she now does and also threw in my face. The only time we get to cuddle and hang out is about an hour a night after 9 when her son falls asleep, which I often try to cuddle or suggest watching a movie. And instead, she just sits there watching her phone or scrolling Facebook. I just feel like, what's the point? And do something else, which turns into an argument because I'm not spending quality time with her. I'm helping as much as I can, If I stopped doing any of these tasks, she would complain I'm putting too much work on her shoulders. She does look after our daughters and entertain our sons, which I not only appreciate, I understand it's a big task some days, and I'm as supportive as I can be for that, but I'm not just exactly sitting on the sofa playing video games myself. The conversation ended up fizzling out, and we both went to bed annoyed. She didn't take him out today and has been in a mood with me, acting like I appreciate nothing she does. At this point, I don't even want to get married. Heck, I don't even know if I want to stay together. She doesn't respect my boundaries. She basically guilted me into failing my MSc in the final year because she wanted me home more. Her impulsiveness causes problem after problem. She asks for something, I tell her no because it'll affect other things. She begs me and says it won't affect other things. Then the big problem happens and I'm left to pick up the pieces. By the way, if you want to pick up the pieces of my broken heart, because I just found out that you might not be listening to our podcast, here's your opportunity to do that right now.
It's true.
Go to Spotify, Apple, or iHeart. So help me God. Search OK Storytime and start listening to some of our 2,500 episodes, or I don't know what I'm going to do with you. I legally have no idea what could happen to you.
Which makes it not a crime.
Wait,
Legally,
no, don't say
he
that.
doesn't know
Don't say-
what could happen, which means he is completely untouchable.
My feelings aren't respected. And on top of everything else, she keeps throwing ultimatums in my face whenever I say no to something. Despite this, I love her and I fear I'd be making a mistake leaving her. Why? Heck if I know. Love is dumb. I guess, does anyone think I might be wrong for feeling this way, or is this a sign of some sort of mental illness? I'm having a conversation tonight, and whatever comes of it is whatever comes of it, but I'm open to the idea I'm wrong and my pride and ego are binding me. Well, let's just to close it out, let's give a good old, maybe we poll also.
Yeah, we haven't done a
Divorce
poll all day.
or nah? Dakota, your take while we get that up.
I don't know if that will ever stop fully. Even after you get married, maybe you guys go to therapy. It's just gonna be like, oh, now I can do this again. Now I can do this again. Maybe you're making more money in the future. Oh, now I can do this again. Now I can spend the money however I want. Now I can. So I don't know.
Yeah, if OP's
Unfortunate for money ever to get in the middle of all this.
and there's just a limit, like the amount of times you can sit down, say it's serious, and then like have, and
Right.
not even just this specific scenario, but it sounds like it started like revealing like, oh, there's all these different areas. OP's doing a lot of stuff, you know, it's a lot for him, and she's like, hey, you never appreciate what I do and whatever. He's like, well, I do appreciate what you do, and what about what I do,
Right.
you know? So
She's one of those people where you're gonna have to learn the hard way. Unfortunately, you don't want to go down with that ship. She's kind of, you're the ship and she's taking you down. Like, she's like, let's open this, let's open that, let's spend more money. It seems like OP's at their wits' end, and like I'm a divorce.
How many times do you sit down and have the same serious talk before you're like, we should just stop?
We can try.
I think
therapy.
try like counseling or something to see
yeah,
like, okay,
spending,
is there
like money?
Is there just something being lost in the conversation transfer, the way we communicate, that's like not resonating? Do we need a referee to help like actually see this through? And maybe that's what it is. But I would guess here it seems like it's all kind of all areas of life. And if it's at that point and it just keeps...
Let's do simple math right in front of you. You see what happens here? It's not going up, it's going down.
Yes.
My father demands a second chance after denying me as his son.
I deny your second chance.
We have a trigger warning, mentions of financial abuse. I, 23 male, and my dad, 55 male, have a really off and on love and hate kind of relationship. My dad is a tactical master manipulator, self-absorbed person, gaslighter, and comoctopus, a blend of chameleon and octopus, because he changes stories, issues, and inputs, but also is very calculating and cunning. Everything should be beneficial for him. Do not know if that makes sense. By the way, this comes from Junior Ad 2286 on the Charlotte Dobrave YouTube subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, met my dad when I was 11, and he was not necessarily interested in being a dad, and the actions were proof of that. I so wanted to know my father, and was really hoping that he is the father figure and hero that as a little kid I wanted him to be. Him and my paternal family live about 10 minutes away from my house, and was extremely thrilled every time I looked to visit there. But other than my grandmother and my father's brother, who had now passed on, the other family members were not as tolerant and accommodating. A lot of pretenses and weird energy, but took it as nervousness and them adjusting to the situation. But over the years, I have learned that that is not the case. Over the years, I learned that my dad had expressed to my aunt that I was like a puppy that just keeps following him, and he just was not interested in being a dad since he still had a life to live. I am his and my mother's firstborn. And he denied paternity not just once, but 3 more times, and was very nonchalant and proud about it. 1 was when my mother was pregnant, 2 was when I was born, and 3 was when I was about 4 when he and my mother bumped into each other. But unfortunately for him, as I grew into my teenage years, I became a photocopy of the man, head to toe, walk, and some mannerisms. And that's when undeniable proof became evident that he was my dad. He became a timetable dad, only there when he felt like it and when it was convenient for him. From 2014 to 2021, saw the man about 8 times. And every time he claimed to want to fix the relationship and for us to bond and be a family. But that was always a pipe dream, one that will always be dangled in front of me only when some things needed to be done. By this time, he has 2 more kids with his then wife, but who also passed on. My paternal family hated his wife, and I just did not understand why, but it was then revealed that my dad was very negligent. He had young kids, but was not interested in being a dad and husband, but he would tell his family that his wife was controlling, financially abusing, manipulating, and was cheating on him, and also does not believe that the kids she had were his. He was stirring stuff up and had the family all against her. But to her, he told her that his family were not supportive of their relationship, and they could not stand the fact that he had found a great woman, all the crap that created a whole ton of rift between her and the family, to a point where she just left him. Took 1 child, one that my dad claimed was not his, and demanded a DNA test, which she happily provided, and turned out the kid was his. Shocker. And she filed for maintenance and took my little sister and filed for a second maintenance, and the court dealt with that. And he was mad as heck. And the one on the receiving end of that frustration was me. And his rants of how women are scandalous.
Scandalous!
And just are always after money and nothing real. But whatever, family hated on her more and more. Even hate is a cute way of putting it. But fast forward to the recent events, when I just finished high school but took some time off school to really look at what I really wanted to do. I am 20 at this time and really wanted to have a father like any kid would want to. But that was not in his bucket list. This ruined me. Still does because I wanted a dad. Looked past every little and major transgression that he had ever done because, again, I needed a father as I was looking at uni as well. But those plans kept getting delayed and ruined because he was busy fixing his life, but was living it up with his friends and random women that he was with. He played baller and was the one that always had to pick up the booze bill, buy the nicest clothes, shoes, and gadgets, all getting stripped by his friends and his family. So when I needed something, he'd say he'd look into it, and that would never materialize. But for his family, he is the provider and the head of household, where everyone gets what they want, but his children barely even get the bare minimum, including my 2 other siblings on his side. My aunt has the final say and has the influencing factor on all this that they decide upon. And my dad follows every single piece of advice that she dishes out. She is very, very toxic, condescending, selfish, and as cunning as Medusa. Cold and calculating, and play that puts on is just for her and her son's benefit, all disguised as looking out for my dad. I am an overthinker and am very critical of myself and felt like I was not the son he wanted. Always looked at how to be a better son, wanted a father, a person to advise, motivate, and guide me, and how to become a better man. As bad as he was, unfortunately. In doing that, I started having depression and anxiety, severe cheek biting, and nail biting as well. Going through therapy for all that, which is a story for another day. as it's already a long post, but in 2024, I started uni and my paternal family was proud of me and had these big promises as to how they will be there and supportive of me in my quest for getting my degree. But that didn't happen, and they essentially saw it fit that they leave me out to figure it out with my maternal family. Fine by me. But this was what happens in 2024, summarized. Aunt, uncle, and cousins tell my father not to pay for anything related to my education, and if I persist, then I should be blocked or ghosted. That way they do not need to explain themselves to me. This happened March 2024, and that year, September, a week after my birthday, I get a WhatsApp text scolding me and telling me how crappy I am at communicating, and how I am being disrespectful and doing a mediocre job at maintaining our relationship. He tells me what kind of a son I am that cuts his father off, one that thinks that they had made it simply because I am at uni and looking down on him and his family. Said all this in a wasted rage and hung up on me as I tried to explain what was happening on my end. But he then sent a text the following morning apologizing for his behavior and what he had said, but I was no longer interested in what he had to say. And that went quiet until May of 2025, where I am preparing for my mid-year exams and get a text from my father claiming that he wants to be family and what do I make of our relationship.
So, based on literally every single thing that you said, we're not giving him a second chance.
Yeah. We're not believing this.
It's literally as simple as 2 + 2.
And I responded with a heartfelt text that he just looked at and never responded to. I will copy and paste it here. Look, I have a lot going on and I don't have the energy to play guessing games. I have someone very close to me pass away. I have school. I am writing exams. I am going through therapy. I am having health problems and a new business that I am pursuing. So I do not have the time. I looked for you, hoped, wished, and prayed that you'd be a dad to me, but you were not interested and still are not. And I am not going to force you to be something that you do not want to be. So I just will not chase that because it was one of the reasons I was depressed. I wanted to prove to you that I can be the son that you deserved. But along the way, I have failed to, and now I just follow your lead. If you do not care, then I don't. If you do, then I will. I just am tired of always having a one-sided relationship with my dad that seems to be reliving his young adult days and always seems to put others first, but never takes the time to ask his child how they are doing. The way I see it, you don't seem to care. You are not interested and moving through life with the whatever attitude. Other people come first, so I do not want to be a wall that blocks you from living your best life. You are my dad, and I will always care for you as a son would, but I will not burn myself just to keep you warm and water a one-sided relationship. Sometimes I just want my dad. Not everything is about money, and I just want to talk to you as my dad, for you to advise me, guide me, and make me make sense of tough and troubling situations that I may face along the way. But yeah, I will not look for someone that does not seem to be looking for me. That's the end.
Dang, he really read that and said, all right, I'm not even going to bother replying to that.
Yeah.
I can't manipulate him. He's done.
Yeah. I did well on my exams and came back home to recharge for the winter recess, and that didn't go as planned. Came to my attention that culturally, a certain practice was needed to be done by my paternal family. It could only be performed by my aunt, uncle, or my dad. I really was not interested in seeing the family again and was determined to cut them off, but my mother convinced me to go there last week on Saturday, and we went there and the message was relayed to the eldest living relative in the family, who was my dad's aunt, of the situation and what needed to be done. By the way, I know what you could do. You can go listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. What you thinking?
Boo this man.
Boo this man.
Not OP, his dad.
Yeah. I wonder what ceremony it is that he needs a paternal relative to come do for college. I certainly, even if they would agree to do it, would not count on them actually showing up on whatever day the ceremony was.
Yep.
But we have an update. The result was that she will notify the others and get it done on Sunday, and that was that. And boy, was I wrong. Color me surprised when my mother gets a call from my dad ranting why we approached his aunt instead of him and who do I think I am. And he was aggressive, but my aunt, his sister, took the phone and went ballistic, sharing the same sentiments, and just told my mother that she is the one that can help me, but she does not seem to be interested in helping me get that done, and just downright saying that she will not be doing anything. My father followed suit, and they went off on my grandmother, so to speak, telling her that she is not their mother and she should stay out of their business. But then, Redditors, that Sunday night, after saying all that with his sister, he called me directly to talk in private. And he begged that I see him before he goes back to work. He wanted to fix things. I said, okay, and never went, because I don't know what the plan was and didn't want to risk it, as he was just pissed at me a few hours ago. Am I overreacting for not giving my father another chance and cutting him and my paternal family off? And no, you're not. You're so smart to not go.
I wouldn't say so, no. I wouldn't say you're overreacting.
Not at all.
Your dad's no bueno for you.
He was never going to show up. He might not have even showed up to the meeting you didn't show up to. And it's smart to stay away from him when he's clearly very agitated for no reason.
Yeah. That's always the most annoying kind of person. It's like, and then some people will play it off like it's like, it's not even my fault. It's just like, you need to watch out. Like, you can't make me mad. It's like, what are you, 5?
Yeah. Come on.
Like, take responsibility for your emotions. You're the master of your ship.
Sounds like your whole paternal family sucks, and I am sure that whatever ceremony you needed to do, there's got to be some clause somewhere that says that your maternal family can do it if your paternal family sucks. Check that out.